You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Guys and gals, it is 9:02 in the p.m. Donny Gillson, 32 Degrees of Insanity, right here on Kbeach Radio. Is kbeach.org and Kbeach FM, 88.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. Good to see you all here. Tonight, we got a big show on our hands. We're going to be having our good old general manager, Trey, joining us this evening. Can you guys hear me out there? You guys can hear me okay tonight, right? You guys can hear me just fine? Okay, good deal. Just we lost one of our feeds for the simulcast on the Truth Frequency Radio Network, so we're just making sure that everything is sounding just perfect for you all this evening. I just want to also introduce my co-host for the night. Ben, are you there? Ben? I think Ben is somewhere. But
yeah, I'm here.
You there, Ben? Ben?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You want to turn down your volume a little bit on your microphone? You're breaking up. Are you in the car or where are you?
I'm on my phone.
You're on your phone. Okay, so that's the only, just tune it down a little bit. But good to see you, man. How was your week?
Oh, it was pretty good.
Yeah, we had a pretty good show last week with Alfred Lambert Weber. We had a bit of a conundrum happen here at the California State University Long Beach campus as we did this 9/11 show. They thought I was going to come out and be some sort of almost like a terrorist. Cops were waiting for me and everything. No, well, I think they thought I was going to be doing an Alex Jones thing, Fear 9/11, investigate 9/11. Of course, we just had Alfred come on, and we just talked about that we need to prosecute those that were responsible for this very damaging thing that happened on 9/11/2001. We had George H. Walker Bush. We also had Donald Rumsfeld. We had Tony Blair and several other associates that were associated with this particular tribunal that is going to be taking place, where Alfred is going to be a judge, because he was the judge on the Malaysian tribunal. And you know what I found really interesting, Ben, is here is Alfred's a judge on this, I don't know if you want to call it a kangaroo court or whatever it was in Malaysia. But interesting enough, what happens to Malaysia? We get the Malaysia Airlines that disappear.
What happened?
All right. What was that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're on. What are you on, man? You sound so weird tonight, man.
I'm trying to find a quiet place to go here.
All right. Well, why don't you find a quiet place? Just turn yourself on mute, and I'll just continue to talk here. We got a lot of things that we're going to cover tonight. We're going to be bringing Trey onto the show tonight. He's our general manager here at Kbeach. But something just came out The separation of the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve begins. This is something that Ron Paul has been pushing for so many years, that we are going to audit the Fed. You know, we know that Fort Knox basically has no gold in it anymore. The last time Fort Knox was actually audited or even went into was in the early 1970s, back when Richard Nixon was in office. But now, according to Congressman Ron Brown, he issued the following statement. Today's passage of the audit, the Fed bill, brings us one step closer towards bringing much needed transparency to our nation's monetary policy. For the past 100 years, the Federal Reserve, a quasi-government agency, has acted under the veil of secrecy, controlling our monetary policy and thus our economy. While in recent years, the Fed has been granted a greater role in overseeing the regulation of our financial systems, current law specifications prohibit audits of the Federal Reserve, deliberations, decisions, or actions as monetary policy. This lack of accountability and transparency has led to grievous consequences, and it must end. Now, that is a quote from Congressman Ron Brown. Now, here's the thing, guys, and if you can remember the old chair of the Federal Reserve, this would have been not Bernanke, but who was the guy right before Bernanke, Ben? Who was the chair right before Bernanke? Well, anyways, the chair right before Bernanke, I remember him going out there and saying, nope, you can't come in and take a look at what we're doing here. We basically run our own things. We are above the government. That's what we are. We are the Federal Reserve. We are the central bank. We are the ones that control everything out there. And you got the Rockefellers out there, the Carnegies, all of these robber barons that have been controlling this system since 1914, 100 years ago to the date. Actually, the Federal Reserve was signed into law during Christmas time in 1914, right before World War I. Here's a reserve that we don't even need to have a central bank. And I hope people out there, because I tell you, I'm an advocate against Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, all these main banks out there that are taking our money. They're basically stealing. How many of you out there, and I know a lot of you out there are listening, are saying, oh my gosh, I have another $35 fee for my a check that didn't go through, or I have to pay another $2.95 up and above my ATM transaction fee just to get my own money out of the bank. I can't even go to the bank anymore and ask for money. They won't even give me money. They don't even want to give you money, cash anymore. They just want you to have digital currency. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what the New World Order is all about. George Bush talked about this New World Order back in the early 1990s, right after the first Iraq War. He said, this New World Order will be successful, and when it is, we're going to take control of everything. And they have been. They have been since probably, I want to say back to even bringing us all the way back to John F. Kennedy. Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us. He warned us about the military-industrial complex and the corporations. The Virginia Company is which we call the United States, which is the Virginia Company, a corporation in itself. We are Wells Fargo stinks, is some unnamed person that texted into Wells Fargo is the worst. I think Wells Fargo costed me a little over $3,000 when I had a checking account with them. It was absolutely mind-boggling. And then what the funny thing was I had them as a client one time when I was working in radio sales. So it's really, really odd. But anyways, here I'm going to read the rest of this passage that came out today. It goes, the full bill can be read here. Okay. Now that we are on the verge of an economic transition to the multilateral system, it is only prudent for the U.S. government and the Treasury to begin distancing itself from the Federal Reserve and start implementing the blame game. Those who've been following my site since January will recognize the obvious pattern planned here. Congress has held up the passage to legislation requiring to enact the 2010 IMF Code of Reforms, which will restructure the executive board of the International Monetary Fund, allowing for the U.S. Fed dollar to be removed as the primary reserve currency of the world and the SDR super sovereign currency to be implemented in its role. I remember when I was in Hamburg, Germany, I flew out to go to this thing called Jam in the Dam. It was in Amsterdam. It was a complete music festival. And I went out to meet a Reiki healer. Her name was Carmen. Fahuda was her nickname. And I met her in Hamburg, Germany, and her husband, her brother worked for the social services of Germany. And he pulled out this thing and showed me this thing. And what it was called the Amero. Not the euro, but the Amero. And that was a new American currency. It was a gold coin. And he said, by the time, 10 years, mark my words, 10 years from now, you will see this Amero, this new currency coming forth. Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, was in 2007 when I went to Germany. And what we're now approaching, 2015, we're talking about this audit of the Federal Reserve. Now, if we audit the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve becomes transparent and we collapse the Federal Reserve as a central bank, ladies and gentlemen, well, what will have to come in its place? Well, of course, a new currency is going to have to take place. You know, China and Russia are already walking away and saying, okay, we're going to use our money as our own international trade currency. So now, even when you go to Europe, and if any of you go out to Europe, you know that when you bring your dollar to the UA or the EU, it's going to drop about 33% from what you actually have from the dollar. So you're going to have about 77 cents to every euro, for every 1 euro. So I went out there, I think I went there with $5,000 in my pocket, and literally I only had about $3,200 realistically. So I was a poor man out there in Europe back then. Imagine the people that are actually flying to Europe right now and trying to vacation in those areas, because that euro, is I'm surprised that the euro itself has not taken over as a global currency. This is some big stuff that is happening on the horizon. And these are some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight while we are here on the air. We're going to bring a Trey in. I think he gets done with his class about 9:30. It's 9:12 right now. You are listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network. My name is Donny Gillson, 32 Degrees of Insanity. We do this every Thursday night. We start at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we go all the way till 11 every Thursday right here at the Kbeach Studios, right here in Long Beach. It is absolutely, I'm so ecstatic to be here. And of course, my guest host, Ben. Ben, are you sounding a little better now? Ben?
Is that better?
It sounds a lot better, Ben. You sound a lot better. All right, did you find a place a little bit more quiet?
Yeah.
Are you working, or what are you doing, man?
I'm finishing up.
Ah, you're finishing up. Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't quite left yet.
So what is the new job that you got?
Basically custodial work.
Oh, it's just custodial work. So
cleaning up stuff.
Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you finish up whatever you're doing, and we'll figure and get yourself all squared away. And when you're ready to chime in, feel free to do so.
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. Again, ladies and gentlemen, 32 Degrees of Insanity. Right here at California State University, if you didn't listen to the last two shows, and the first show, and you can listen to the archives to our shows too, on Spreaker or on the Truth Frequency Radio Network, or right here on Kbeach 88.1 HD3. You can listen to our archives as well. But last week, we had Alfred Lambert Weber, and we talked about this 9/11 tribunal, this basically a call to action. And if you want to read the article that we wrote, and we also have the YouTube video to the show as well, you can always go to my website. It's www.32degreesofinsanity.com. Again, that's www.32degreesofinsanity.com. Or you can go to kbeach.org, look underneath the shows, and then find us under Talk Show. And when you see 32 Degrees of Insanity, basically click on that, and you'll see our About page. It tells you a little bit more about who I am. My name is Donny Gillson. I am a 32nd degree Freemason. I am a Knights Templar. I have been doing this show on the Truth Frequency Radio Network for about, a little over 2.5 years now, and I was part of a organization called Freedomizer Radio. If you ever get a chance to listen to Truth Frequency or to Freedomizer, please do, because there's some great programming on that as well. And also the alternative media with Revolution Radio, which was basically the start of the show. A lot of people have asked, well, what